Hello and welcome to the February 2026 edition of Virginia Wine and Song, where we pair a Virginia wine with a classic piece of music or an underrated piece of music, however you want to define that, from the classic rock and pop era, which once again I define as between the years 1964 and 1999. That's just my definition, so take that as you wish. Today's Valentine's Day, okay, February 14th, 2026. So it's gonna be a little bit of a Valentine's Day theme with the album that I selected for this particular installment. And the winery, well, every winery claims to be a great winery for Valentine's Day. You go to, just go to the websites or Facebook pages for all the different Virginia wineries that you know and love. And I guarantee you most of them talk about how great their Valentine's Day celebration is going to be, and they're trying to grab as many couples as possible, which is that's the whole idea, right? You want to go somewhere. The weather here in Virginia, it's finally getting a little warmer. All the snow that we had last month is starting to melt. Hopefully it'll be gone very soon. We had a lot of snow here in Luray, Virginia. We got about 12 inches, so mostly snow, but a lot of sleet also, frozen rain and whatnot. But anyway, that said, today is in the upper 40s, so good day to get out and do the wineries. Hopefully you have a designated driver, or you rented a chariots for hire, or one of the different various transportations they have out there, which is highly recommended. So you don't want to be drinking and driving, because you can hit a lot of wineries, and especially if you go to certain areas of Virginia, the wineries are like really close together. Charlottesville, Northern Virginia. Even the Shenandoah Valley now, where I reside, we're getting quite a few wineries down here. But today I'm going to be talking about a winery that's quite a distance. And this is actually one of the first wineries I went to. This winery is all the way down in Floyd County, Virginia. And Floyd County, of course, is well known for the Floyd Fest, which is a music festival, a country music festival, fiddlers and folk music and country music, and the Galax and Floyd, Virginia loop, which is quite famous now. People come from all over the country to listen to real grassroots bluegrass and country music, and even folk music, and even some rock music. So Floyd, Virginia, back when I was at Virginia Tech, Floyd, Virginia it had one traffic light in the entire town, and it was a blinking light. It was a blinking traffic light. It wasn't even a regular traffic light. I don't really want to get into how long ago that was, but it was a while ago. Now, of course, I haven't been there since I went to this winery. I went to this winery about 22 years ago or so. And this winery is very close to the Blue Ridge Parkway as well. And it's one of the wineries that is a mass producer. The winery is called Chateau Morissette. It's one of a couple of different wineries in Virginia that's named Chateau something. Of course, Chateau is, a lot of people equate the name Chateau with wine, whether it's France or California. In the case of Virginia, this is Chateau Morissette. We also have Chateau Maryland, which is near Lake Anna in Orange County, Virginia. And we also have Chateau O'Brien, which is off of Route 66 on the way to Front Royal. So this is Chateau Morissette, which is the furthest one away. I think this winery, like I said, is close to the Blue Ridge Parkway. There are a couple of wineries in that area of Virginia that you can hit. And this one is a mass producer. You can buy their wines in a lot of different places, including, I've even seen this wine at 7-Eleven. Now, just because it's a mass producer doesn't mean it's bad. Now, the thing about this winery is they've been around for a long time. This is one of the original wineries in Virginia. Their website claims that they're the oldest winery in Virginia. They planted their grapes in 1978. So the website claim is they're the oldest in Virginia. I'm not sure if they are. I thought Barboursville was a little older, because I think Barboursville planted their grapes in 1976. I did a little research on the Barboursville website and didn't really indicate when they planted their grapes. It just indicated when they started working on plowing their fields. So maybe Chateau Morissette really is the oldest winery in Virginia. But 1978, to plant your grapes that year, that's a long time ago. So we'll go ahead and we'll say this is the oldest winery in Virginia. We'll believe what they say on the website. And they're also a restaurant. And this was one of the first wineries I went to. And this is before the laws changed about wineries and food. Back in the day, from like 2000, when I first started doing the wineries in 2003 or so, all the way up until I think around 2011 or 2012. You couldn't really operate. You needed a different license to be a winery that offered food. You couldn't. It was very complicated. And I guess Chateau Morisset decided when they originally opened, they were also going to be a restaurant. So it's a restaurant and it's a winery. Very, very popular, and like I said, a mass producer, and they have a lot of wines here. This is like Horton. You know, Horton is another winery in Virginia that has wines. You can find wines like it, everywhere pretty much. Even CVS, I've seen some of their wines at CVS. So this particular winery, they have something for everything, for everyone. This is a crowd-pleasing winery. Even if you don't like dry wines, you don't like wines, period. If you go for the sweeter wines, they've got a lot of sweet wines here. In fact, I think they're known mainly for their sweet wines. But they have a couple others as well. I'm looking at their website now. They have a Petite Maison, which of course is a bit sweet. Vidal Blanc. They have one called the Dry Dog. By the way, this is a very dog-oriented, very animal-friendly, dog-oriented winery. There are dogs all over the label. You can see this label has a dog driving a car, which is quite amusing. So even their barcode in the back of the bottle is in the shape of a dog. So very, very dog friendly. Bring your dog. I think between this winery and Bear Oak Winery in Delaplane, Virginia, those are the two top dog wineries as far as I'm concerned. And I do believe they actually donate a lot of their proceeds to animal rescue groups down there. So that's always a good thing. So they have a wine called Dry Dog, which is a dry white. They've got quite a few reds here, a lot of dry reds according to their website. A Cab Sauv, which is dry, Heritage, a Chardonnay. They have this dry, but if you can't get down to the winery, or you don't really feel like ordering online, if you find their wines in the supermarkets in Virginia, you're mostly going to find the sweeter ones because those are ones that I guess are mass produced and they're a little less pricey. This particular bottle I got from Food Lion here in Luray was $23. Which is not bad for a Virginia wine. I'm not a big sweet wine fan. This is one called Our Dog Blue. Our Dog Blue, and it's considered to be a table wine. Table wine is a wine that's made from a couple different varietals. And it's got a little meter on the back of this. It's got a little chart to let you know how sweet or dry it is. And I appreciate this. A lot of the wineries in New York State do this, upstate New York, because in upstate New York you got a lot of sweet wines up there because of the climate. In upstate New York, they're the Rieslings. They do a lot of Rieslings in the Finger Lakes area. And some of those Rieslings are pretty sweet. So they always have this graph in the back of the label to tell you how sweet or how dry it is. This one is, it's in the scale, it's in the medium scale. It's the arrow is pointing down towards the bottom of the medium scale, which means it's got a touch of sweetness, but it's a little more on the dry side. And again, I can drink this if you chill it, especially in the summer. This is not the summer right now, but in the summertime, it probably would taste very good if you chilled it. I plan to chill it and serve it with something spicy, probably some Indian dish with a lot of curry, or maybe a Thai dish. That'll go really, really well with this. So this is the Our Dog Blue, Chateau Morisset. Very good wine. I wanted to feature a wine that was not in the Shenandoah Valley, so here you go. This is way down in southwestern Virginia, like I said, near the town of Floyd. So, and I'm sure they've done really, really well since the Floyd Fest has kicked in. And they probably even have a booth at the Floyd Fest for all I know, because this winery, they're everywhere. They're a big operation. If you can find their wines at 7-Elevens all over the state, they're a big operation. So what goes well on this Valentine's Day with this sweet, with semi-dry, off-dry, semi-sweet type wine? And I really thought long and hard about it, and I couldn't really find much of a tie-in to wine for this particular album and this artist, but I did find a tie-in a little bit to Valentine's Day and romance. And I'm going to talk about Billy Joel, and I haven't talked about Billy Joel yet. I was surprised when I was looking through my little notebook of keeping track of the different videos I've shot. I haven't featured Billy Joel yet, and that's a shame because he's really he's a legend. I mean, he's a living legend. He hasn't released an album of new material since I think 1993. All the stuff that he's released since '93 have been compilations and some live albums. And he doesn't really have to because, the output that he put out, the stuff that he put out. Come to think of it, I think I may have featured him. I'm losing track now. Early Alzheimer's, folks. because I remember saying what I just said about him not being very prolific since 1993. I think I did shoot a video about him. So if I did, I'm sorry. But you can never talk enough about Billy Joel. I talked about Elton John in 2 separate installments, so why not talk about Billy Joel? I think I talked about the album Piano Man previously. So anyway, we're talking about another album. And his output, the albums he put out in the 80s, I'm going to talk about that really briefly here. Extremely varied. His albums were so interesting because every album had a different type of sound. In 1980, he put out Glass Houses, which is sort of like a new wave type record. It had a little influence of punk in there. It had a little influence of Paul McCartney type pop music. It had a little influence of 50s rock. So really great album, very short album too. I think Glass Houses is only like 39 minutes long. So it's a great album. In 1981 he put out, okay, you know what? I did feature Billy Joel because I talked about 1981. I think I talked about Songs in the Attic, which I have on vinyl. That was a live album that he did with a lot of his older songs that weren't really well known. Very good album. And following 1981, he put out an album in 1982 called The Nylon Curtain, which is sort of a concept record that I thought was really interesting, very kind of John Lennon-esque. Had a couple of influences on there that were really unusual, like ELO. There's a song on there that's very much like ELO. There's a song on there that's very much like Harry Nilsson. But now I'm going to talk about his album he put out in 1983, and this is his romance album. And this is the album he put out right around the time where he was getting heavily involved with Christie Brinkley. And the album is called An Innocent Man, and it came out in 1983, and it had several hits, several big hits. But the album is really, I think, and he's even admitted this because I've seen interviews with him. I've seen interviews with him on YouTube, and I've read interviews with him in Rolling Stone, and they talk about all of his albums. And he has admitted that this was his album that he was blissfully in love. He was in love with Christie Brinkley. She was featured in a couple of his music videos that he shot back then. You definitely hear it on this album. This album, I think what it is, he took that blissfully in love feeling that he had, and he kind of channeled that into a 60s tribute album. So this album, I think, is very much early 60s tribute to especially doo-wop music, and music of the Four Seasons, and music by Lou Christie and some of those big New York bands of that era. And that is definitely channeled into this album. And this album was a real big hit. It was a surprise hit. It had a lot of songs on it that hit the radio. And very unusual to be hearing songs like, The Longest Time, which is, basically an a cappella song, and Uptown Girl, and Tell Her About It, and Keeping the Faith, and all these songs that had a real, like I said, a very 60s element. To hear these songs on the radio when other stuff was on the radio at the time, like, Duran Duran, and Cyndi Lauper, and Madonna, and Prince, and Michael Jackson, and Phil Collins, and all that stuff from that era, to hear his songs from this album on the radio was a real treat. We're never going to have a time like that again. I hate sounding like a old fuddy-duddy, but that's just what it is. People don't really buy albums anymore. They just buy vinyl, I think, out of curiosity, or maybe they trade albums. Like I said before in other videos, a lot of younger people are getting into vinyl because they like the artwork, the novelty of it all. CDs, they say CDs are going to make a comeback. I don't know if CDs are going to make a comeback or not, but maybe they will. I want to bring out. I also have this Billy Joel on CD. So this is An Innocent Man. I picked this up at a used vinyl store a few years ago, and it's in good shape. You always inspect it. And the nice thing about going to a used vinyl shop is you can pull the albums out and you can look at them. And this is on Columbia, of course. He's got that stupid Family Records label on here. He sold a lot of his song rights to this publishing company called Family Records back in the early 70s. And it was a bad business decision that he made. It was not his fault. He didn't have proper management. And because of that, he's got to put that stupid logo on his albums called Family Records. So anyway, Billy Joel, An Innocent Man. It's got Easy Money, which is a song that he recorded for the Rodney Dangerfield movie. An Innocent Man, which is the title track, that was on the radio. The Longest Time, of course. This Night, which I think is one of his best underrated songs. This Night is a great song. Tell Her About It. Uptown Girl, Careless Talk, Christy Lee, Leave a Tender Moment Alone, which I think has a harmonica on there. I'm not sure if that's him on the harmonica. It sounds a lot like Stevie Wonder on the harmonica, but I don't think it is Stevie Wonder. It's a very much a Stevie Wonder-like song, though. Leave a Tender Moment Alone. And then, of course, Keeping the Faith. And then I have this also on MoFi, Mobile Fidelity Remaster of An Innocent Man. All of the Billy Joel albums have been remastered on MoFi, from Cold Spring Harbor all the way up to this album. I think this is the last album that they put on at MoFi. I wish they would get around to his later albums in the 80s. By the way, Alexa, he has a song called The Downeaster Alexa, and that's a song from his album Stormfront, and that was named after his daughter that he had with Christy Brinkley. And Alexa was born in 1985. So she's getting up there in age, but she's a musician too as well. Alexa, she probably is not very happy at the fact that there's an AI named Alexa that plays music for millions of people all over the world. I don't know if they took the name from her or not. I don't know, but who knows how she feels about that. But she's very, very talented. I saw an interview and heard some of her music. She definitely got a lot of talent from her dad. Anyway, she was born in 1985. So anyway, Billy Joel, great. You can download this on Alexa or on Tidal, which I actually think is a better site at this point. Or you can buy the vinyl, buy the CD, even if it's not remastered. You can get it on CD probably pretty well, a good copy, used copy somewhere, and enjoy this with a Chateau Morissette. And maybe even have this, maybe even have a rosé. So you can have a bottle of red, or a bottle of white, or maybe even a rosé if you feel like it. Let me see if Chateau Morissette has a rosé. I'm sure they do. Because I want to give a plug out to rosés. You always have to give a plug out to rosés. They have a sangria red, the Black Dog, red sweet wine. I don't see a rosé. Interesting. They have a blackberry wine. So Chateau Morissette, they have an apple wine. So again, trying to appeal to a lot of different taste buds out there. A lot of people are not a big fan of fruit wines like apple wine and blackberry wine. They're worth trying once. They're interesting. But especially people like sweeter wines, they usually go for that. I don't see a rosé here. They have one called Christmas Red. Christmas Red, which is a smooth, rich, fruit-forward blend, which I guess is good with to have around Christmas time. Anyway, Chateau Morissette, really whimsical. Their label right now, or their logo, has a dog riding a bicycle. Really funny. Great place to go. The people working there were great. I remember, like I said, I was there about 22 years ago, but I remember it very well. Very good experience. So I hope you enjoy that. Hope you enjoy some good music and have a great rest of the February. We'll see you next month.